who you believe you are, who you think you are, comes from within. I meditate, I might go to the gym, I make myself a healthy shake. I don't start work typically before 10. So I block off 60 hours a week for work. I work on what I know is bringing me passion. Be kind, be helpful, be friendly. I think we underestimate how intelligent and wise and mature our children are. Your job is not to make sure they can learn to play Mozart on a piano, because I believe that traditional universities are no longer relevant. You let your children create their own healthy beliefs of the world. I want to create the biggest shift in human consciousness in a single generation. This is what we're doing at Mind Valley U. Now, we don't do it for 4 years. We do it for 1 month, every year, for the rest of your life.
I feel the biggest pain when I see people who cannot find their place under the sun. Unmotivated, sad, and desperate people. Business owners, entrepreneurs, suffering from burnout, stress, and boredom, and no time for their family. My biggest goal is to help them realize that this world provides enough opportunities for everybody. I managed to help thousands of people, but I strongly believe that we can do so much more if we unite our knowledge and skills. And this is the reason I started doing interviews with the best visionaries and world changers. Their inspiring personal and success stories are a proof that everything is possible. All you have to do is listen and learn. Together, we can change our lives and the future of this world. Hi everybody, this is Warrior Family and I'm Smiljan Mori. You are here because, my friends, you believe that we can all create and live the life worth living. But in order to do this, we have to do something about it. And the purpose of my show is to introduce you to my guests, to their beliefs, to their habits, to their hacks, so you can create the life worth living. And today I have a special guest. He is from Malaysia. He is the founder of Mind Valley. He is the author of the book, The Code of Extraordinary Mind. He is leading the organization of 200 employees from 40 different countries. He is also a philanthropist, and he is also my inspiration. Welcome, Vishen, to my show.
Thank you so much, Smiljan, and congratulations for what you're doing in Slovenia. I've seen the incredible pictures of the huge amounts of people that you bring together so that they can transform their lives, and it's very impressive stuff.
Thank you, Vishen. You have nice memories about Slovenia.
Yeah.
What happened in Slovenia?
So in 1997, when I was a college student, I backpacked across the former Yugoslavia. I was working as a photojournalist, and I was actually doing an exhibition on Yugoslavia post-war. So I spent a lot of time in Slovenia, Croatia, in Sarajevo. I had an exhibit. I was only 21 years old, but I had a black and white photography exhibit. So that was 1997. Now, my other interesting thing that happened in Slovenia is that is where I kissed my wife for the first time, the woman who is now my wife, right?
Yes.
And that was in the year 2000, so that was 18 years ago in Porta Rose. I met this Estonian girl at a conference in Porta Rose, and we ended up kissing by the sea, and then one thing led to another, and now we have 2 kids together, and I'm here in Estonia.
Wow. I have a very personal question. How much time did it take you to kiss her from the time that you met her and to kiss her in Porto Rose for the first time?
2 years.
2 years.
I'm really slow.
Brother.
Really slow.
You are better than me. I needed 6 months to kiss my wife, Helena.
6 months? It took me 2 years.
Yeah.
So
you were really shy in the college. You had this, one of the limiting beliefs was that you are not beautiful. I heard in some
I was very shy, yeah.
So it took you 2 years. So let's jump into the question that most people want to ask you about family. You know, I have kids, Samuel, my son turned 7 yesterday, and my daughter Sima, she is 8. So I always have this feeling that I'm not good enough father. What is for you being a good father? You are so busy running companies, different projects. You have kids, Eve and Hayden. How old are they?
So Hayden is going to be 11 this year.
Okay.
Eve is going to be 5 this year.
Okay. So how do you balance business and personal life?
So would you like me to answer the fatherhood question first?
Yes, please.
So it's interesting because as we are sitting over here, we just finished a full day of learning from one of America's top conscious parenting experts, Shefali Sabari. She was on Oprah multiple times, and I actually just came here straight from a workshop that she was doing for parents and their children. So I was there with my kid, right? And so what makes a good parent, a father or a mother? I believe, and again, I don't have all the answers because I'm not a parenting expert, but I believe it is how well you let your children create their own healthy beliefs of the world, rather than imposing your beliefs on them. And so I learned from Shefali that we should not force our children to be a certain way. We shouldn't force them into a certain job. We shouldn't even force them
How do you do that?
into a certain religion. Well, what she says is understand that your children are not yours. They do not belong to you. Like the great Sufi poet Rumi said, your children are not your children. They come into the world to pass through you, but they chose you. And your job is to simply let go and let them live and create the life that they want to live. And so to be a good mother, to be a good father, do not push your children. Most parents, according to Shefali, they are creating their children and pushing their children to basically heal themselves because they want to make sure that they did better in school. They want to live through their kids. And she says that's the worst thing you can do.
So when you listen to her lectures, did you see that you are doing some mistakes?
Well, I've already been studying this,
Okay.
but before I started studying this, absolutely I was doing mistakes.
So what are some of the things that we shouldn't be
Well,
doing?
for example, we shouldn't push our kids to, if a child comes home from school, the child has just been in a classroom for 6 to 8 hours. And what do? Rather than give them space to just relax, to do what they will find joyful, we immediately tell them, okay, you got to do 1 hour of homework before you go to bed. Okay, you got to finish all the food on your plate. And she says, relax. Like, what is that food on the plate that they have to force themselves to eat, right? Why homework? What is that homework? Do you realize that by pushing them to do homework when they don't like it, you are creating in them dislike of learning, a dislike of school. And so, for example, when I grew up, I remember I have an aunt who would make me finish everything on the plate, right, as a child. And so it was horrible. I had to eat all of my peas. I had to eat all of my vegetables. And when she wasn't looking, I would go and I'd throw it out the window. And that's just an example. When you're kids, sometimes you have so much pressure placed on you, especially from well-meaning parents. And what Shefali is saying is just relax and let go. Your children are not your children. Let them create their own life. Do not create meaning around the things that they do.
Excellent. You know, traditional school system, we are here in Tallinn. This is the second Mindvalley University campus where you bring people from all over the world to learn from different teachers a whole month. What is the purpose behind this? Is this the answer from your side to the traditional school system?
Yes, because I believe that traditional universities are no longer relevant. See, today, it doesn't make any sense to put someone on a campus for 4 years and expect that will solve all of their problems in life when they emerge, that will help them get a job, that will help them be successful, that will help them become a contributing member of society. It doesn't make sense anymore. I believe today there are different things that we need, right? And if you look at the world today, you'll notice some really interesting things. There's an epidemic of loneliness. In the Western world, loneliness is up 300%. And loneliness, according to Harvard Business Review 2 weeks ago, is worse for you than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Now, another epidemic is the epidemic of depression, of stress, of anxiety. According to Gallup, 87% of people around the world dislike their jobs. And even in a rich country like America, 54% dislike their jobs. So what are we doing with our educational system? If people are coming out and they are lonely and they are sad and they dislike their jobs, that's broken. And when something is broken, you cannot let it continue. You gotta question it. That's what we're doing with Mind Valley University. How can we create a university where we help people address the issues that really make, that are the biggest challenges in life? We help people address anxiety, learn how to have positive optimism so that when they are sad, okay, they know that things are going to get better. They know how to deal with their emotions. We connect them with a tribe of like-minded people so they never have to be lonely again. We teach them transformational education so they can go out there and not just create a good job for them or get a good job, but actually live a good, happy, conscious life, right? So we're trying to teach people the skills that traditional universities don't teach. Traditional universities teach you things that, honestly, today, you can Google on your smartphone, but they don't teach you what really helps you live. For that, we need the type of education that you provide, that I provide, transformational education. This is what we're doing at Mind Valley U. Now, we don't do it for 4 years. We do it for 1 month, every year, for the rest of your life. So that's the first difference. We have twisted the time scale, but there's a second difference. The students here come back every year. You could start at 40, you could come back 20 years later at 60, right?
Wow.
Coming back every single year. But as you go through life, you bring your family, you can bring your grandparents, you can bring your children, and there are classes for them as well. So you learn as a family. The young people can learn from the older people. The older people can learn from the young people. I just came from a class where I was taking the class with my 10-year-old son, right? And that's the most beautiful thing. You're going back to school with your kids.
So this is probably one of the rules, how you call it,
Right.
bullshit rules.
Right.
Go to school and get a job.
Yes.
My father always told me, go to school, be good, and get a job.
Right. And it applied probably when we were growing up. 40 years ago, that made sense.
You quit the
Today,
job after-
it doesn't really make sense.
You quit the job after 11 months.
11, well, yes, you're talking about my story in my book where I spoke about working very hard for 5 years to become an engineer, to get a job at Microsoft, and then I quit after 11 weeks, realizing it wasn't for me. And that happens to many of us. We spend so much time chasing what we think is right, only to end up waking up one day in our 40s going, why is my life so miserable? How did I end up here? And often at that point, it's tougher to shift. So why not try to truly find what you love, truly find the transformational skills you need to live a healthy, fulfilling, happy life at an early age. That's what we're trying to do here.
So what you gonna do? Your kids will be 15, 16 in our country. When they turn 16, they have to go to the, what do you call, like middle school. I'm fighting with myself. I already sent my daughter and son to the Waldorf school, which is, you know,
Which is a good school.
which is different than any other school. And what should I do when they will be 15, 14? Should I send them to the 4-year whatever?
Well,
behind the wall?
Well, I think what you should do is ask them what they want to do. I think we underestimate how intelligent and wise and mature our children are. And you should ask them what they want to do. And if they say, look, Dad, I don't want to go to school anymore, that's fine, right? You want to maybe give them certain skills, teach them the ideas of entrepreneurship, the ideas of finding a good job, how to find their vocation. You want to teach them the Japanese concept of ikigai, how to find work that you love doing, that can contribute to the world, that can get you paid, and that you can be good at, right? And that's it. Don't try to do too much. And I think those are the things that people really need to have a fulfilling life. Your job is not to make sure they can learn to play Mozart on a piano, or to make sure that they have a degree in law or engineering. If my children told me at 15 or 16 that they wanted to drop out of school, that would be their choice.
You would say yes, okay.
Yes, I'd say yes, okay.
You would
but I would
them-
also say, these are the things that you must understand, that there are certain skills that you may want to choose, and you decide those skills where you can get paid, where you can make an income. And if you want to be a person who is mega rich, that's your choice. If you want to be a person who is just living comfortably as an artist or a poet or as a gardener, that's your choice. Our job stops at teaching them how to be a good individual, how to give them good character, how to help them discover their values, how to help them create their beliefs and help them survive in the world, and then let them go.
How do you balance your life? You are so busy, so many projects, so many boards. No.
How do I
when do you wake up? How many hours a day?
Well, it's very
you have?
easy because I block off 60 hours a week for work.
60. Okay.
Yep, I don't work more than 60 hours a week. So I block off 60 hours a week for work, an hour to 90 minutes every day for my personal growth. And that gives me enough time to do everything I need.
In the morning.
Yeah.
So wake up, you do your morning routines.
I wake up, I meditate, I might go to the gym, I make myself a healthy shake, or I practice intermittent fasting. I might listen to a podcast or Mind Valley Quest. I might write a bit for my next book. It's my personal growth ritual. Then I go to work. I don't start work typically before 10. And then I'll come back at 7.
At 7.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, because you work on different projects, how do you structure your days in a week? Like one day you are working on this project or the second project,
Well,
or you can switch between projects.
I switch between projects. I work on what I know is bringing me passion, right? What I'm excited to work on. And if it isn't exciting me, if it isn't fun, if it isn't bringing me passion, I find someone who enjoys doing that, and I have them do it, and they become part of the team.
What is one productivity tip that you can share with me and my followers?
Well, a big productivity tip is to identify the aspects of your job that you are not good at or that you don't enjoy doing, and find someone who can take control of that, so that you are constantly focused on what gives you joy, what you're good at, what you can be best in the world at. So that's how I went from having a business that was just me to a business now that has some 300 people globally.
Already 300?
300.
300, not 200.
Yeah.
So how do you manage all these people?
It's very easy. Like, the best people don't need to be managed. They have their KPIs, they have their goals, they have their projects, and they are self-motivated.
But you have meetings with them, or you have key people?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you talk with them?
But not that many meetings. We use certain tools to stay in touch. We use Slack, we use WhatsApp, we share ideas very rapidly. We try to avoid too many meetings because the people are scattered all around the world. And we communicate in Slack groups and WhatsApp groups.
Social connectivity, can you explain and talk more about that? What is social?
Social connectivity is a concept, I believe it's by Sean Aker, the Harvard psychologist. And social connectivity score basically is the score of how kind and friendly and helpful you are to your coworkers. And what Harvard University found is that the people who score in the top 25% of social connectivity score are 40% more likely to get a raise that year.
In the job?
In their job, yeah. So what it means is that if you want to succeed in your job, be kind, be helpful, be friendly. Those are the skills that matter in today's workplace.
Not competing.
Competition is not the best way, no. That can create a very dysfunctional organization.
Goal setting. What worked for you in goal setting? You know, you have so many courses out there. Like
what works for me? What works for me in goal setting at a basic level is the 3 most important questions. At the highest level is life book. So it depends, right? If you want a really good basic 3 goal setting methodology, look at the 3 most important questions. If you want to treat your goals the way you run your business with a concrete process, then you would do Life Book by Mind Valley.
John Butcher.
By John Butcher,
John,
yes.
John.
Yeah, so Lifebook and Mind Valley are one company. We work together.
I signed up for the online course a week ago. What legacy do you want to leave on this planet?
I want to create the biggest shift in human consciousness in a single generation that humanity has ever experienced.
You already did some big things.
Only 3 million people.
Only
we have
3
a
million.
billion.
What is
that
your
we
goal?
want to hit.
A billion?
1 billion.
1 billion. And you grew, your goal to grow the Mind Valley University is like, the first event was 300 people. Now it's 1,000 something. What is the next step?
Well, it's going to be more. There are going to be campuses around the world. The next step is 1 billion people. Well, it's not going to happen immediately. We're giving ourselves 20 years, right?
So you are creating also the school for the students.
Right.
How will this look like?
Well, that's a secret.
That's great.
But the
That
goal,
instead
the
of
question
going to
we
the
ask
college-
ourselves is, how do we go from locations like this that can serve 1,000 people to being able to serve 1 billion people?
How
We don't
many
have the
years?
answer yet,
No.
but we have 20 years to figure it out. But everything starts with that goal.
It's a great vision.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you. No, not the last. What is unfuckwitable? Unfuckwitable.
Unfuckwitable means that you are not going to give meaning to your own life or define yourself based on other people's opinion or criticism or judgment or praise. It means who you believe you are, who you think you are, comes from within. And so you're less afraid to get on stage because you're afraid that some people might not like your speech. You're less afraid to put a product out or to write a book because you might get a bad review. It means that you understand that other people's opinion doesn't have to define who you are. That's what being unfuckwitable means.
So that's in the translation, it's like, I don't give a fuck about what you think.
No, it's not that.
It's
That is
not.
more of a harsh thing because you should care when people give you good feedback, right? What unfuckwitable means is you do not define your self-worth. If people give you feedback, it's the book, it's not you. So you could I could get on stage and I could give a bad speech and nobody would clap. It doesn't mean I don't give a fuck. It means, something is up with the speech. I should go back and I should tweak it. But it's the speech, it's not me. You separate who you
don't
are
take it
from what you
personal.
do, right? Because you know that if it's what you do, you can always go back and you can improve it. But it's not who you are. And so unfuckwitable actually is great for feedback because you separate the feedback from yourself and you can improve what you're doing.
Great. Last question. If you only had 5 seconds to live,
5 seconds to what?
to live,
Right.
what would you say to your kids? What would the last message, I call it the power message, the last message. What would the last message be to your kids? Something that they would remember till the rest of their lives. Something that,
I'd say, hey Hayden, remember Star Wars and that scene when Obi-Wan Kenobi gets killed by Darth Vader? Remember, there's a truth in that. I am not my physical body. I'm going to be gone, but I'm right by you for the rest of your life.
what would you say to Eve?
Same thing.
Wow, thank you very much.
Thanks,
It's
Marian.
great to have you on my show. Hope to see you on next Mind Valley University and on AFest.
Thank you, Smelly.
Thank you.